As South Africans, we are deeply concerned and ashamed that nationals from other countries have in recent months been subjected to discrimination and ill treatment.
You will not find a Zimbabwean standing and abusing South Africa. We will not do that.
We cannot submit to the intimidation and harassment of people seen as coming from elsewhere.
Criminality has no nationality. You take a criminal and they are taken to due process. But don't say Zimbabweans, Tswana, this. We know very well that we in South Africa, no matter how people wish, we cannot be separated.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. At the SADC meeting in Durban, President Cyril Ramaphosa and a Zimbabwean minister spoke about migration, solidarity, and how South Africans have treated foreign nationals recently. Their words were extremely polished, and they were also deeply disconnected from the daily reality of South African citizens. Today we report on what they said and respond with total honesty. Before we get into the video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Let's get into it.
We cannot submit to the intimidation and harassment of people seen as coming from elsewhere. As South Africans, we are deeply concerned and ashamed that nationals from other countries have in recent months been subjected to discrimination and ill treatment. I repeat, as South Africans, we are deeply concerned and ashamed that people from other nations, some whose leaders are here, were treated badly and were even forced to leave the country under threat of violence. The criminal actions of a few within our communities are a repudiation of the solidarity upon which this Southern African community is built. We cannot preach integration at summits and practice exclusion in the streets of our countries. I say this as a South African, to South Africans first of all, but this is a broader challenge to which we must apply ourselves as a community. Southern Africa has borne witness to the movement of people over millennia. Our people are the products of migration. Migration accounts for much of the diversity as well as the vibrancy and richness of this region. You just have to move to our various countries in Southern Africa, and you will find people speaking almost similar languages that you find in each of our countries, meaning that we are one people, meaning that we have moved across our region with ease.
When I say it's not about Zimbabwe versus another country, it's not like, that's why Zimbabwe you will not find a Zimbabwean standing and abusing South Africa. We will not do that. And don't expect Zimbabwe to be making any statement abusing South Africa. It's not because we are afraid.
And you make
no,
it clear
it's because we have values. We have values of Ubuntu. We are not a WE wrestlers. We are people of this region. And we will face many problems. This is not the first problem that we'll face. We'll face many, but we will triumph because we will use our minds more than our emotions. Let's not talk about nationalities. If there is criminality, let's talk about criminality. Criminality has no nationality. You take a criminal and they are taken to due process. But don't say Zimbabweans, Tswana, this. we must learn that when we are tackling a problem, we are not tackling a nationality. We are tackling a criminal. If it's a criminal, it's just. But once we start labeling and so forth, you're an experienced person and you know what I'm talking about very deeply. That kind of thinking, it results in consequences that we might not be able to contain. That's why, for example, when Zimbabwe is quiet, we know very well that we in South Africa, no matter how people wish, we cannot be separated. President Mnangagwa and President Ramaphosa work very well together. They taught us how to work well together, not to do shouting matches at each other. We do shouting matches at poverty and the problem. And even when we are doing the repatriation program, you must know that we work very well with the South African government. Nicely and so forth. It is unlike what people were expecting. A spate of diplomatic outbursts and so forth. I'm sorry, there's nothing which is going to come like that from Zimbabwe and between Zimbabwe and South Africa.
So President Ramaphosa said South Africans are deeply concerned and ashamed that nationals from other countries have faced discrimination and ill treatment, and that some were forced to leave under threat of violence. He called the actions of a few a repudiation of regional solidarity. He warned against preaching integration at summits while practicing exclusion in the streets. He reminded everyone that Southern Africa has always been shaped by migration and that we are essentially one people. This framing is a problem. It presents the enforcement of immigration law and the frustration of overloaded communities as moral failure by ordinary South Africans. It downplays the scale of public anger and reduces a national crisis to the criminal actions of a few. Millions of South Africans are not vigilantes. They are citizens watching their clinics, schools, housing lists, and job opportunities come under sustained pressure from large-scale undocumented migration. When the state fails to control the borders for years, people eventually push back. Calling that pushback shameful protects the failure instead of fixing it. The Zimbabwean minister reinforced the same regional line. He said Zimbabwe will never abuse South Africa because of Ubuntu and shared values. He praised the close working relationship between President Mnangagwa and President Ramaphosa. He insisted that problems must be treated as criminality, not nationality, and warned that labeling people by country could lead to consequences that cannot be contained. He added that the two governments cooperate well even on repatriation. This sounds reasonable until you examine the results. Large numbers of Zimbabweans live and work in South Africa, many without proper documents. The strain on South African public services is real and measurable. A government that cannot provide for its own people and then benefits from those people running away to the nearest country is not practicing Ubuntu toward that neighbor. Refusing to name the nationality of offenders when patterns are clear does not promote justice. It protects political relationships. Every country has the right to say when foreign nationals as a group are disproportionately involved in certain crimes or in illegal residence. Pretending otherwise is political convenience, not principle. Both speeches from these leaders prioritize regional harmony and historical solidarity over the present duty of a government to its own citizens. South Africa can maintain good relations with its neighbors without surrendering control of its borders or treating its own people's concerns as an embarrassment. Prioritizing South Africans in jobs, housing, healthcare, and enforcement is not exclusion as the president calls it. It is the basic responsibility of any sovereign state. Other countries do it without apology, yet South Africa is expected to apologize for even bringing it up. The real issue is not that South Africans suddenly became intolerant. The real issue is years of weak border management, slow deportations, and a political culture that treats citizens' complaints as a public relations problem rather than a governance failure. When leaders spend more energy scolding their own people than fixing the systems that produced the anger, trust will collapse. That is what we are watching right now. South Africans are not asking for isolation. They are asking for a government that puts them first, in law, in resources, and in public statements. They are asking for borders that mean something, for illegal entry to carry real consequences, and for leaders who do not shame them for demanding law and order. These speeches have shown us that there is a huge gap between summit language and street reality. Regional solidarity cannot come at the permanent expense of South African citizens. We must demand leaders who prioritize this country without apology. Demand proper border control and consistent enforcement. This is our country. We will not accept being lectured into silence while the problems remain unsolved. Watch the video on your left to see Julius Malema demanding that illegal foreigners be legalized. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Until next time.